G'day guys, welcome back to a new episode of the Boundary Riders podcast, episode 133. I'm pretty sure after a couple of weeks on hiatus, we are back. A lot to talk about today. We'll be covering a little bit of the trade period, of course, with a couple of weeks away. Some delistings, of course, players have almost pretty much ended their careers and a lot more. So let's roll the intro and get straight into it. Welcome to the Boundary Riders podcast, your one-stop shop for all your AFL content needs.
He looks at his options, and Jack Ginnivan says, boys, you brought me to the club to do justice!
But this guy has flog written all over him.
From attack down, Reed sprints away from Petrarca, leaves him in his wake, takes a second bounce, takes a third. The sheer arrogance of Harley Reid. Finish the job, young man!
So let's get into the footy news from the week that was. So guys, of course, my brother is back to join me this week, and we haven't really spoken, I think, since the trade period is all wrapped up. So, I mean, I think that we can all kind of agree that St Kilda probably came out the best of it. I think that they were the best team of the trade period.
Yeah, you have to say that with what they've brought into the club. They've pretty much just went for finals next year or bust, really.
Do you think that's what it is for St Kilda? They have to make finals next year. It's a failure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that, but the fact is that because of what they've done to their team, if they don't, there's going to be so much scrutiny on them for the first time in probably 10 years, 5-10 years, probably.
Yeah, I mean, they've put themselves in the spotlight that if they don't make it, they're going to be up ship creek without a paddle.
Yeah.
So they're going to have to make it. I think they improved on every line. I think I said that in the trade video. They got Sam Flanders, which improves their midfield. There, obviously, Liam Ryan helps out up forward. I do think that Max King is almost like a new recruit if he is fit next year as well. Tom McConing does help with the ruck aspect, and interesting to see what they do with Rowan Marshall next year as well. Obviously, he did stay at the end of the trade period. What do you think they're going to do with that? Because, I mean, Tom McConing, you'd think with the money that he's on, he's going to have to play ruck.
Yeah. The good thing is that even though he doesn't want to play forward, he actually can be a capable forward, Rowan Marshall, but...
Yeah, he's been pretty good when he does float up there when he's playing his ruck role. But I mean, I think that they have struggled for a few years to find key targets up there. Like obviously with Max King's injury throughout 2025, Cooper Sharman's basically been their main target.
He's played and in their structure, he's played more the Myercheck role.
Yeah,
that he's been the mainstay forward. But he's not that pure number one forward.
Yeah,
in that
I think
role.
that Rowan Marshall being down there will help with that because they have someone who can sit at full forward and help out, and then Max King has someone to help out with him, and then Cooper Sharman. I think he's a lot more a player that can play in between the wings, playing between the arcs. Sorry, so I think that's not the worst thing, and I think that St Kilda did the right thing with holding him because one, he's contracted, but two, Geelong weren't offering enough.
No,
I mean, pick 19 is not enough for a guy who's, in my opinion, one of the top three ruckmen in the competition, probably.
Yeah, he's more of a top three than another delisting that we'll probably get into a bit later.
Yeah, I mean, it was it was not great, obviously, but I mean, we might as well get into a couple of delistings right now. Of course, the one you're alluding to is Mason Cox being delisted from Collingwood. Not too surprised by this, to be honest, especially after the way they went out in the final series. But I mean, he was in their team, their best 23 in Craig McRae's eyes going into the two finals, but it doesn't stay on the list.
Well, yeah, and you got to think like McStay was had hampering injuries throughout the year, and he didn't get into that first final, and everyone was calling, and that's why Mason Cox came in. So it was a bit. There were worrying signs because he wasn't in the team throughout the year, but he did play a role.
Yeah, I'm not too surprised. I mean, to be honest, like I said, I'm not really too surprised that they did delist him because I think the writing was on the wall after that prelim final that like Collingwood were chips in for this season with all the players they picked up, and that not throwing away future draft picks for the chance to bring in a player like Dan Houston, who, by the way, underwhelmed to say the least.
So far, Gold Coast and Port Adelaide have won that trade so far.
Let's be real. Gold Coast won that trade. I mean, Joe Richards had an okay first year, but John Noble was the standout.
Yeah.
So,
it was about.
I mean, he had a better year than Dan Houston, and they both played.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So Gold Coast, Port, then Collingwood. When probably would have thought that Collingwood would have won that out.
When you have those sort of players, I mean, you weren't expecting a lot out of a Joe Richards type, and he probably overachieved. Well, not overachieved, but like he did better than expected. And John Noble was leaps and bounds. Like he probably would have been up there. Probably, I mean, I understand obviously he's not going to get an All-Australian, but he had a very good year. And then obviously Dan Houston incredibly underwhelmed. So interesting to see how he goes. But you know, with all that, with them throwing away future picks for Dan Houston, then obviously this year they're going to struggle in the draft, and another year older to players like Sidebottom, Pendlebury, who they weren't going to get rid of, Jeremy Howe as well. Some players had to go, and Mason Cox was one. We did see Oleg Markov, that was a little bit earlier. He got delisted from Collingwood, and Tom Mitchell, of course. Do you think Mason Cox or Tom Mitchell find a way to a different club?
No, I don't think either of them do. I either think that, to be honest, I think Mason Cox has more of a chance. I just think that the AFL's moved on from a player like Tom Mitchell, kind of like how Matt Crouch and all those players that just have basically one way of getting the ball, and they don't change of how they get. They haven't developed into a different sort of a player.
It's a different sort of game than when Tom Mitchell was getting the 50-plus disposals. I think that there is... I personally think there is a way that Tom Mitchell gets another spot on a list. I do agree with you that Mason Cox is probably more likely than unlikely, because with the new ruck rule coming in... with the new rule of the 23 now with no sub, I think it could bring in a way that Mason Cox could play a role, because he has, not that he's been amazing like maybe Sam McClure is saying, but he has played a role for Collingwood in the past that he can play as a relatively good forward and as a ruckman, which I mean a lot of teams could use. So I wouldn't be too surprised if he gets picked up. Tom Mitchell, I could see a way where he gets on a list because he's got great experience, Brownlow medalist of course, and he's a great accumulator. So I think that he could definitely add some. I wouldn't be surprised if he finds his on a rookie list. But he does have a lot of...
Well, what team do you think would suit him then?
I mean, maybe a North Melbourne or something. I
think North Melbourne's the worst team for him, because they have so many midfielders. That's what I thought you were alluding.
He's in the VFL. I mean, and then come in if they need be. But I mean, he can give experience to someone, and I don't see him leaving Victoria because he has his own businesses and stuff there now. I think he has a podcast and stuff, so I can't see him leaving Victoria to continue his career personally. But I mean, I could see him moving at a club, like a lower club, maybe a Richmond even, just to help out their team for a year or two, so maybe give some less minutes to a guy like Sam Lawler, who can have some more minutes up forward, and then save his body or whatever from playing the rigours of hard midfield minutes all the way through for the first couple of years. That could be a type that they could get, but. Yeah, like you said, Mason Cox is probably more likely than unlikely. But looking at a couple of other delistings, we did see that Will Phillips from North Melbourne has been delisted with a couple of other Kangas, including Darcy Tucker and Georgie Painbro. Your name couldn't be... His name's actually Georgie. That's embarrassing. I'm sorry, bro. You deserve... No, I'm kidding. But Will Phillips, I mean, it's probably the biggest draft fumble from North Melbourne in some time. Pick 3 with Logan McDonald sitting behind there at pick 4. Not a good pick at all.
Not a good pick up at all.
I mean,
when they were getting all those midfielders at the time, they had all those midfielders that were in their prime, and then like Luke Davis-Uniacke was coming up. They didn't need another midfielder, and that's who they got. When everyone was like, they need a key forward, and they still do.
Yeah, they still need a key forward, and they didn't get it. And I mean, look, there was rumours, I think a couple of months ago, that West Coast were potentially looking at him. Nothing eventuated throughout the trade period, but wouldn't be too surprised if he does get picked up, because basically he is a pick 3. He had the talent there, just hasn't been utilised yet at North Melbourne. He wasn't utilised at North Melbourne, so maybe he does get picked up, but, end of the day, not a massive... career from him, and we've seen very high draft picks in the past, not do the great. Obviously draft can be a little bit of a lottery, but I think a lot of teams now need to start using, because I mean, let's be real, when has it ever been that pick 1 has been the best player in the AFL for the first year, pick 2 has been the second best, and third is third best? I think teams need to start looking at the draft as sort of like the trade period, how you can pick up the best talent if that's what you need, but why not go for the best key forward in the draft? Even though he may not be from the talent leagues, the 5th best player in the pool, pick him up, because let's be real, players in Coates Talent League, whatever, aren't going to be the player that you bring into your club. Like, look at Murphy Reed. Had a great first year. He was picked up at pick 15 by Fremantle or something. Maybe, actually, no, I think it was like pick 17 or something.
Yeah, it was something late.
Yeah,
in that
I mean,
first round,
no one really expected him to have a massive year. Like, from like most, like, you know, regular pundits didn't really expect Murphy Reed. Like, I don't remember anyone with a prediction saying that he was going to win the Rising Star. But I mean, what a year he had.
Yeah.
Like, he's setting up pretty much every single Fremantle shot at goal.
If they wanted to score for it, had to go through him, or they weren't scoring.
Basically, yeah. I mean, he was basically the Brian Myers of Fremantle for the first year. I think teams need to start utilising the draft as, okay, we need to fill up the role of a key forward, a key defender, blah, 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 and then just develop that player.
And realise that, because they always say that the big tools take a couple of years to develop.
Yeah.
You might as well get him in at pick 2 when you don't need a midfielder.
Yeah.
When you've got the midfielders in there that are going to be there for years, you need a forward, you need a defender, grab them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we look at St Kilda last year in the draft. They picked up Alex Taru, and we saw how good he's been in his first year as a defender and as a key defender. And like, obviously, it's a bit hard to tell how great a player he's going to be. But I mean, if you looked at it right now and you looked at the draft pool that we had, and then like it was the dream, it was the the mega draft. Everyone was like, this is the one from last year. And Taru, how he showed like how great form he had in that first year. You could probably say he's like worth a top 5 pick, really looking at it. But then Josh Smiley, who went before them, was injured all year from Richmond. And I mean, Richmond could have really used Alex Taru if you think about it. And I mean, I'm not saying that. I mean, Josh Smiley obviously can come right in next year and have an absolutely blistering year. And we've seen a lot of players in their second season win the Rising Star.
Yeah.
So that could be the case as well with him. But Richmond kind of could have used a key defender this year as well. So I think teams need to start utilising that. But yeah, overall, Will Phillips, it was a pretty disappointing career. Hopefully he can maybe he can get picked up by another club and can find new form. But I think as well, he doesn't really fit the mould of the new age midfielder.
No, he doesn't. And North Melbourne never really played him in the right position, but he just never could really grab the opportunity. And
I mean, I think the biggest highlight of his career was the fact that he tagged Nick Dacos for 3/4, and then he got subbed out of the game, and that's when they lost.
Then they lost because of the fact is that Alistair Clarkson subbed him out.
Yeah.
So
I mean, if that's your one highlight, not a really great career, really, that you did stop the best player, but also I think they also mentioned the fact that he was tired and couldn't keep going, so his fitness wasn't great either. But yeah, Darcy Tucker as well. He was picked up, I think, as a free agent from Fremantle a couple of years ago. Never really. I mean, he had a couple of okay seasons with North, but I mean, let's be honest.
His best game was this year when he somehow was able to have 0 touches in a game where he played for three quarters. That was a good record. I think that was actually a record.
Yeah, I mean, I remember that like it was yesterday. What a game from him. A couple of other delistings as well. Ben Hobbs and Lomon Luau have been delisted from Essendon. Bit surprised by Ben Hobbs, to be honest, but I think he'll get picked up by someone else.
I think he'll get picked up in the rookie draft. I don't know who would look at him, but
he has been linked to multiple Victorian clubs in years gone by.
I think that with the injury list this year, he's played so many roles for Essendon. I think that he's just been plugged into different roles all year. He's a straight midfielder, and they should just that's where he should have played.
Yeah, well, you look at a couple of Essendon players on that list: Nick Cox, Archie Perkins. They've missed a lot of draft picks. Now, in recent years, they've done a bit better. But I think you were going to mention the statistic regarding Jordan Ridley. Is that what you were going to mention?
No, I was going to mention the fact is that if they did get rid of if Zach Merritt eventually did go, do you think he probably isn't delisted? I'll say that. I reckon he wouldn't have been.
Yeah, probably not. I think they probably would have used that. But also they would have brought in Henry Huswaite, so he may have been able to be pushed. Well, I know. But, I mean, obviously he's no Zach Merritt, but I mean,
the way the fucking Essendon, they literally wanted to throw him out the door, Hawthorn.
Yeah, like just kick him through the door.
We want Merritt.
We'll do anything for him. We'll get to the trade period in a minute, but yeah, that was not great. I'm trying to find this Jordan Ridley statistic because I think it was something to do with the fact that he was the last All-Australian player from
Essendon, in 2016.
Yeah, I think it was 9 now, actually. Footy Online. I think this is the one. Yeah, here it is. So every team's most recent draft pick to become an All-Australian squad member. So Essendon's was way back in 2016, which was Jordan Ridley.
So that's when he was drafted in 2016.
Yeah.
That's really, really
Poor.
yes, poor drafting. Basically,
It's interesting that Richmond as well is the last player they drafted that made the All-Australian team was Shea Bolton. Obviously, he was picked up in 2016.
Well, yeah, but you got to think that their run into into their dynasty was in 2017, 18, 19, 20. Well, most of their players would have been picked up.
No, I know, I get
earlier
that.
than that.
Yeah, I get that, but it is interesting they haven't had one since then.
Well, it's the same with
Brisbane Lions,
Yeah.
2017, Eagles, yeah. But I mean, you look at all those sort of ones, you think about it, and yeah, I mean, Jordan Ridley was picked at pick 22. They've had a lot of top 20 draft picks in recent times, Essendon, and they really haven't done well. I mean, we're looking in the last couple of years. I mean, they seem to have done better. Interesting that what's his name, Andrew Dodoro, who was like the huge list manager for so many years, didn't really do well at the draft table as well. You know, he always
wanted to avoid it.
Yeah, he always wanted to avoid it. So they've obviously, it was Archie Perkins, Nick Cox, and the other one was Zach Reed in the 2020 draft. Of course, the COVID draft, which is definitely didn't really have a great run, did it? I mean,
No.
Jamari Uguagan was pick 1.
Phil Thorpe was pick 2. Well,
Phil Thorpe by far should have been pick 1, and he would have actually gone to pick 1 as well. The Crows,
because the Crows picked up bid on Newhaven.
They knew that we're going to lose that. So Phil Thorpe was very good, and then Logan McDonald was pick 4 from the Swans. But the 2020 draft, there's not many. A lot of players have been delisted from that draft already.
Yeah.
So not a great draft, so to speak, either. But yeah, I mean, Jordan Ridley is the last All-Australian from Essendon who was drafted to the club to make the team. That was, he was picked 22 at the time. So not great at all, really. And yeah, they need to start getting their draft needs to start looking a lot better. I think they were more than happy to miss this draft, not miss this draft, but they didn't want to give up Zach Merritt for 3 first-round picks and 2 this year, then 1 next year. Because they didn't really care about this draft. I don't think it's the one that they're going to be able to get in and get someone that's going to be a generational talent.
Well, they're saying at the moment it's the first round, and then there's nothing. You just ping it you're looking for a diamond in the rough, basically.
Yeah, but I mean, again, you probably look at that, and then we say that about players who are picked 57 or something, and then they turn out to be the star of
Exactly.
it. So we'll see what happens, but I do agree with that. And last one, someone that really hurt me in 2016, Jason Johannesson has been delisted from the Bulldogs. So yeah, I mean, obviously he won the Norm Smith back in 2016.
A lot of sleepless nights.
Yeah, I mean, obviously got robbed that game. We don't even have to talk about it, but I mean, good career from him. I'm not too surprised though. They've got enough players through that halfback role nowadays, and Bailey Dale, of course, is the one. But then they've got others coming through as well. So I think they're not too surprised by that. I think it was mentioned as well. He had a 15-year career. Still played 16 games this year. Open to playing elsewhere. I don't think he'll get picked up though.
I don't think so. I think he's the role he's playing. To be honest, he's not going to get many offerings from other teams.
I couldn't see a world where they're going to offer him much. Maybe a club could offer him a rookie spot, but I highly doubt it. Let's move on. So we'll talk a little bit about the trade period, but before we get to that, we already have a trade rumor for next year. I mean, it's literally been a week, not even a week since the trade. Well, I think it's been about a week since the trade period ended, and we've already got a rumor going for next year. So Josh Weddle apparently is going to be the new multi-million-dollar man. Essendon, it seems at this moment in time, as reports are suggesting, that he's going to be offered $10 million in a contract
for 7 years.
I think that's going to start to be the norm now, these big money contracts. And I get it. The game is evolving. It's starting to become a lot more commercialized. There's so much more money going into the game now. Players are starting to get paid more. So that is going to be the new norm. But that's a huge amount of money for $10 million for Josh Weddle. Now, he's shown a lot of great signs in his early career. Is he the $10 million man? I don't know.
Probably not, in my opinion. He's very valuable at Hawthorn, but
that's basically making him, because it was from Essendon who's offered this amount. that's basically making him the main guy. That's the guy you're putting on posters. That's the guy you're, that's putting bums on seats. I don't know if he's that sort of guy. I don't know.
He's not. He doesn't seem like he's a good player, but is he gonna be a match winner? Like is he gonna turn a game on its head? I don't think so. And
I think he plays a very good role. I think he's an exciting player, but I don't think if he's I can't see him being the, this is like the Buddy Franklin sort of deal, know. Is he, I mean, obviously he's not going to be a Buddy Franklin, but is he going to be that guy to put bums in seats every week? No. I don't know. Oh my God, Josh Weddle's playing. It's like, I mean, I think he's going to be a very good player.
I think there's a lot more glazing from footy commentators about him than the
probably
Joe bloke. Than the Joe bloke that just says, yeah, he's a good player, but he's not going to. He plays a role. He can play multiple roles, but
yeah, he's a very flexible player. So,
but that doesn't mean you're worth more because you can play multiple roles.
Exactly. I mean, if you're, I just don't know. I mean, and Essendon seem to be splashing the cash. It seems like they were going to go after Zach Bailey, but maybe next year would be the go. But it seems more than likely now he's going to re-sign with Brisbane, from what I can tell. But it seems like they're going to. I mean, I would put more money on Zach Bailey than
I'll be offering. I'll be offering Bailey that money than him, because I know he can. Bailey can play forward. He can play midfield in multiple roles and play the team game as well. Like multiple roles.
I mean, he could have been a Norm Smith medalist if he kicked straight in that grand final throughout the last month. So we know how good a player Zach Bailey could be, and I would offer him that much. I mean, look, maybe Josh Weddle will be that player. Who knows? Maybe he will. Maybe next year he'll be, up there in the Brownlow votes. I don't know, but yeah, I just don't know if that's really him. But we'll just have to wait and see. But on the other stuff in the trade period, we did talk that St Kilda are probably the winners of the trade period. I, in my video, said that Hawthorn were the worst to come out of it. What do you think? Who do you think had worst to come out of it?
I think it's North Melbourne.
Yeah,
I think that they did nothing. They got rid of they got rid of Finbar Maley, and they got Charlie Spargo. They're a team that needs to rise up the ladder. That's not going to do it. That's not going to make it. They should throw money at Wilkie. They should throw money at of key defender. They should have tried something. Let's be honest, their culture's bad at the moment anyway. What's the badness of trying to Stephen May? What's the harm in it for 2 years to develop these young players into something?
Well, I mean, I said in my video that North Melbourne should have been looking for a key defender like a Lee Kalia.
And even, what's the harm in just splashing the cash a bit like St Kilda did?
Yeah, at least St Kilda were aggressive. They said, look, our list is not it right now. They traded away their captain for, and I mean, no, he didn't go for much, but he was a player that would be up there and his wages would be quite high because he's the captain of the club. So they released him, and that was that wouldn't have been the exact reason why they could have picked up all these players, but releasing that sort of money gave them the license to go for someone like a Jack Silvani, to go for Tom DeConing, to pick up Liam Ryan, to go and get Sam Flanders. And we already know Sam Flanders is getting paid a huge amount of money to join St Kilda.
Yeah.
So yeah, North Melbourne just continue to sit on their morals and not do anything. And you can make the excuse of they can't pick up players, but St Kilda haven't been able to pick up players, and look what they did. They said, okay, we've struggled to pick up players. We're going to go pick up this player. We're going to offer him probably a little bit more than he's worth so he can come to the club and can play a role.
Yeah.
And yeah, I personally think Hawthorn did worse because they literally picked up no one and lost players. At least North Melbourne did pick up someone. And I mean, Charlie Spargo in the year of the premiership for Melbourne did have a very good season, but that's not moving the dial for me.
He's a one-hit wonder. That's the only year he's played well, and ever since then, it's been pretty downhill since then. And
he's never really been a high goal kicker either.
No, and he's pretty much going to play the same role as Costanti did this year. Pressure forward, who can bob up for 1 or 2 goals every 4 weeks and not really do much.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing again. When are they going to rise?
They don't really have a lot of draft picks this year either because they traded away to Richmond for
so nothing. I think it's actually worse because they don't have a first round pick as well, and they didn't bring anyone, and they've got this. They're going to have the same game style again because Clarko doesn't want to change anything. He thinks it's going to stay the same and it's going to make a difference. It's not.
Well, what's going to happen if at the end of next year, North Melbourne are sitting in the bottom 4?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, what are they going to move
Surely
on?
he's
because
gonna
Clarkson
move on.
was supposed to be the saviour. He's supposed to be the godfather. He hasn't done anything. Like, they haven't gone up. If anything, they've gone down. I mean, the fact that they were up against that they finished lower than Richmond, a team that wasn't expected to win a game.
Yeah.
To finish below them on the ladder, and the only team that they beat was West Coast, who had one win, who had probably the worst season almost the worst season in AFL history since 1990. When is it going to happen? Because it doesn't look like it's coming.
Nah.
I think they'll have some improvement next year with a lot of their good players like Dave Sheasel. Sorry, I think he probably takes over as captain now that Simpkin did all that in the draft period, but in the trade period. But I did say in the video that why didn't they use that as use Simpkins wanting to leave as something to shop around at other clubs? Because we saw how ruthless St Kilda were.
Yeah, but the thing is, no one wanted him. The only
Yeah,
team
but
that
I mean-
wanted him was Collingwood.
Well,
And
yeah,
even
but I
Collingwood weren't going to offer him anything. That no team wanted him. That's the
I
sad
think that
reality of it.
I get that, but I mean, I think a lot of it as well was the fact that they were not offering a lot of. Look, how many people I would have rather Jai Simpkin over a Clayton Oliver. Why were they not going up? Because I mean, a lot of the reason why people weren't going after Oliver was the fact that his contract, they'd have to pay it out. North Melbourne should probably have just eaten because I mean, I'm sure North Melbourne would have had to do the same with Simpkins' deal. The reason why I think a lot of people wouldn't have gone after him as much is because North Melbourne weren't willing to pay it. And I think that that's probably something that they needed to do is like, okay, we've got to eat something here. We've got to take a hit. Let's pay out. Let's give a club the opportunity to pick up a Jai Simpkin type. We will take draft picks. We will take, why didn't they offer him to like a GWS? Like when the start of this came out, because this came out before Clayton Oliver was going to get kicked out of Melbourne. Why didn't they immediately go, okay, he wants to go. He wants to look elsewhere. Let's use this as a way to push our club forward. Offer to pay half his wages or 3/4 of his wages, like Melbourne are doing with Clayton Oliver. Move him on, get something in. Or find something. I don't know. Just do something aggressive. Like you picked up Charlie Spargo, lost Finbar Maley, which I think is probably a downgrade in their forward line, if I'm being real. Like Finbar at least showed some sort of signs this year when he was in the team. Like, do they really need a Charlie Spargo, for fuck's sake? No.
Not really. When you look at their team, Casanti, Zerha, even though he can play a bit taller.
Paul Curtis. I mean, does he even get a spot in this team round one next year?
I don't know if he does.
I think Finbar probably gets more of a chance of getting a game in round one to help out Nick Larkey.
I still don't know what Finbar was going to Adelaide for. I don't get that.
That was a weird decision. I mean,
they
I guess
think
that's
it's
why
quick- they
Chris
think-
Burgess got.
They think
got the
because
flick.
Taylor Walker's going to retire by the end of next year, surely, that he's going to take that role. It's like, did they not learn anything from the final series that three forwards does not work in finals?
Yeah, and I mean, they haven't really looked at a ruck replacement either for Riley O'Brien. Maybe that's what they're doing it because he can play ruck, and then that means that Phil Thorpe can play more forward. But yeah, I think that overall, I agree that North Melbourne were definitely bad. I would just go with poor form because they set all their sights on Zach Merrin and they didn't get it done.
Well, yeah, and you got to think they lost they lost 3, but losing Warpool and relying on Will Day to play a full season,
It's going to be
not going to happen. He hasn't. I don't think he's played a full season in his whole career. I don't think it's going to happen next year just because everything didn't fall into place.
Yeah. And John Newcomb is there, but their midfields, they're going to have to really get a lot out of Mackenzie next year. They did hold on to him. Henry Husway, I don't know if he gets a go, maybe.
Well, they got to try something because they got to try something different.
I mean, they made the prelim and with the team they had, but they've lost now. They've lost Jaff, they've lost Warple, and Sarong, obviously isn't much on paper because didn't play much this year, but he did win the VFL Best and Fairest, so there is
last 2 years actually.
Yeah, 2 years. So Sydney, great pick. One under Swans.
Yeah.
All right. On our teams quickly. Sydney, I think I already said, good trade period, obviously. They had to pick Charlie Curnow. He was the best player out there, and they did the job. They did it right. 3 first-round draft. The next 3 years of first-round draft picks. We've basically said, put out all our cards on the table. The next 3 years are it for Sydney.
Your next 3 years are grand final, and hopefully at least one premiership in that. You're pretty much putting it all on there. You've just sold your future for one player, which is understandable. You've got the hole there. You did pick up Sarong, which is a good one for your defense, but you're throwing it all in one basket and you're hoping to come out with something.
Well, I mean, I agree. I mean, I guess you could kind of compare it to Collingwood, how they sold everything to pick up one player. Well, not everything, but yeah. I mean, I think Sydney are probably in a better position because they do have good young talent. And a lot of the players, like some of their best players, are under the age of 25.
Yeah.
So that is probably a good thing. While Collingwood's, a lot of their best players are, some of them are in their 30s. So I obviously, I'm a Swans fan, so I'm going to take the side of that. But it is a big move, and they're going to have to get it right because also Will Hayward and Ollie Florent were huge club favourites. The players, they were like some of the best mates of some of the players. So you lose them, you've got to have success, or the murmuring's going to start coming pretty quickly. Yeah. Because
it's a big thing to do, especially in Cox's, you'd say first official year, basically, because last year John Longmire was still the coach when they went through the trade period last trade period.
This is his first off season.
So it's a big, huge balls move to do it.
Yeah, but I mean, John Longmire did the same thing with. I mean, it was his third year. I think third. It would have been 2013.
Because you went because he took over in 11. You went to the Premiership 12, and then you went Buddy in 14.
Yeah, so
at the end of 13, yeah.
So, yeah, I think Jared Healy actually said it recently that the Swans, they don't need that key forward to like have that as like the guy on all the posters and stuff like we've seen in previous years with Barry Hall, Buddy Franklin, Tony Lockett back in the day. I agree with him that we don't need Charlie Curnow to bring players to the game. We've seen in recent years that the Swans have got relatively, like, they've got very good crowds despite, Buddy Franklin not being at his best anymore. I think Sydney is definitely starting to grow a good market now for AFL. So I don't think that Charlie Curnow needs to come in as a, marquee signing or whatever. I think it's a good thing to bring him in, but I'm very tentative on like,
you're one of those Swan supporters that are like, did we really need him? Like, it's great to have him.
Yeah.
But do we really need him?
I've been on that side for a long time. That like, do we need him? I don't know. I mean, I understand this year was tough, but I also think that Joel Amati was out for the majority of the year with injury. Logan McDonald was out for the entire year with injury, and we got to a grand final in 2024 without Buddy Franklin. So I don't really. It's hard. I want to say that it's the best thing for the Swans, but there's a bit of me that says Will Hayward, losing him was big. Ollie Florent, not so much this year, but he's still a great clubman, and losing 3 years worth of first round draft picks. I mean, obviously you can pick them up other ways, but it's a big loss, and you want to go big this year. That's just all I'll say. And I think it's a good trade period, but it's a dangerous one too.
Yeah.
On Port Adelaide though, you picked up 3 players, didn't lose anyone either. I mean, is it an A double plus for you?
No, the way it would have been an A double plus is if we signed Butters by the end of the period, but we were never going to do that. I think it's going to be one of the biggest stories next year. Like, you think Nasiah Wanganeen-Malera was a big one coming back to South Australia. Butters is reported to go obviously back to Victoria. That's going to be a story every bloody week, and if Port don't play well, that's going to be a huge story all year. But on the fact is that Port Adelaide kept all their picks. We got some more for next year for academies and NGAs.
Players.
I think that's good. We've got some good players coming through Father Sons as well. Sorry, that's what I was thinking of. It's good. We've got some nice role players. They kind of play the same role that so many of our players do, though, play. We've got, Jacob Ware, Will Brodie, and Corey Durden. Corey Durden was the one we needed. But I've looked at the stats. He plays the Willow Gurley role basically with the same stats. Hopefully,
I do think though that with Corey Durden coming in, I think that he's got a little bit better than Carlton's game plan going forward has been atrocious for years. I mean, I think that does help. Port Adelaide probably a little bit better with that.
The thing is also
the fact that Georgiades can kick 50 goals, nearly win the Coleman on a team that was so bad this year,
forward wise,
a very patchy forward line. I think obviously Durden's different to Georgiades, but I think that Port Adelaide used the ball a bit better I think they just struggle in. I think defense is their biggest
We've,
issue.
I think our stat was that we were one of the either it was this season previous or the one before. We were the one best inside forward 50 teams.
Yeah,
Like
efficiency.
kicking, efficiency, but we were just so poor at putting it on the scoreboard.
Yeah, actually getting it in there was the difficult part.
But like I said, I think Corey Durden, obviously he's from South Australia. He's got his whole family here. He's only just got engaged, and I think he's about to get married. But
Do you know his middle name as well?
no, but that's not the point. But it's just that I think maybe being that back in the home state may give him some boost of confidence. Having Joe Barry back in his second year, he didn't really develop. He didn't do a lot. He played a few games early and then a few games late, but he wasn't playing the role. I think another preseason gets him back into it. Just another
Jack
hot.
Koshis being back is going to be massive. What a great.
It's amazing. We have so many midfielders. We've got so many forwards, and we don't have a big. It's going to be interesting with Todd Marshall coming back as well. I think.
Yeah, that would be interesting. Todd Marshall. Do they play Lukosius, Marshall, and Georgiades up forward?
You got to think that Lukosius, yes, he's a tall guy, but with all three of them, it's like Georgiades is technically the biggest one out of all of them, but he's not the tallest out of all of them. Obviously, that's Marshall.
Yeah.
And yet, it's going to be interesting how we play this because obviously, Lukosius does have some great attributes, and he has a great field kick. So I would put him up the field. I'd put Marshall between half. And I'd put Georgiades in the square and have Marshall float between both of them. That's how I'd play it. But Lukosius wants to be a forward.
Yeah, I know.
He's not a forward.
Yeah.
He's not a forward. Like he's actually worst attribute is that kicking a goal. That's his worst attribute. He's got a great field kick and he can kick from 90 out. Inside forward 50, but his worst thing as a forward is that he can't kick goals.
I mean, if they play their games in the NT every couple of weeks, they'll be kicking bags at goals.
Yeah, I know. I'd be actually saying to Port Adelaide, he should be saying to Port Adelaide, play Gold Coast every week up there. I'll
kick your bags of goals.
Yeah, exactly. But I think it's a good period not to lose anyone. And basically, what did we lose this year? A one pick of 103.
Yeah.
Well, they're not going to use that for Freo.
Yeah.
So
I don't know why it took that long to make that trade. I mean, it took till the second week to give up 103. But maybe they were sitting there like, look, can we at least get something in the 70s? And Port were like, no, you haven't played him in 2 years.
Yeah, I think he will play the role that, sadly, that Roy Atkins did mostly probably through the sandful, I think.
You don't think he'll get a game? Or you think he'll struggle to get a game?
Unless if he comes in like pre-season, like absolutely dominating, I don't see it.
Well, the thing is, I think we've kind of mentioned it throughout the episode that the midfield game that he plays is probably something that's going away. Is like that bullocking midfielder. And Port Adelaide, the fact that they've already kind of got that with Willem Drew and Ollie Wines.
Yeah, and that's Willem Drew is going to be playing the Will Brodie role because they're the same, being the same similar age.
Yeah, and they can't bring in that. They can't have them both.
Yeah. The thing is that the reason that they got him is the fact is that when he played his best season at Freo, Josh Carr was the assistant at Freo.
Yeah.
And he saw the attributes that Will Brodie does have. So maybe he sees it under a new role, coming back to the coach that made him thrive, maybe gives him a shot. So maybe I'd love to see him play. And the fact is that as I said to you when it first happened, I hope he comes back with a huge chip on his shoulder, being traded for pick 103, and be like, I'm going to show everyone in the AFL why I am a good player.
Yeah, I mean, we've got to remember way back when he was picked up as a first-round draft pick from the Suns.
Yeah.
So there is something there. But I mean, again, the draft can be a bit of a lottery. So we'll see what happens. I think Will Brodie has always been a player that you look in like the waffle team every week and you're like, oh, I remember him. He's always fucking dominating. Why doesn't he get a game? And you're kind of like, oh yeah, I guess he never really does it at AFL level. He's unfortunately not the sub. So yeah, I mean, he's usually, when he was playing, he was getting sub roles quite a lot. But end of the day, I think that he can play a role for Port Adelaide, but I think that he's going to struggle to make it into the team unless maybe there is an injury to a Willem Drew type as well. Yeah. That's pretty much where we're sitting at. Probably the next thing I wanted to mention was the fact that Tassie has made probably one of the biggest signings yet, I think. This is obviously, I'm just reading exactly what Cinch Footy just put on their graphic, apparently. But the Tassie Devils have signed social media guru Jacob Gaynor as their new social media manager. So I think that's massive for them. That's going to be great for their marketing.
Yeah, I think for it's going to be a one-team town. He's got everybody around it. Like, he can do... hopefully he gets a bit of a free reign in a way. Not maybe that he can do whatever he wants, but, you know, he can attract all the young people in Tassie, everyone around the league, and... Make him like really known straight away in the new age of social media.
The thing I will say is though that so many other clubs now have started to get a lot better at it.
Yeah,
but he was the guy who started it all, and I think that that's going to be really good for the Tassie Devils.
Yeah, exactly. So hopefully for them that, you know, it's a seamless transaction when it comes to them coming into the AFL.
Yeah,
and I think, like I said, that new age of social media. Jacob Gaynor was the one who started it basically in the AFL.
Oh, definitely.
And so he will go, you know, it'll just bring him probably up in the ranks of people being their second team, basically, I reckon.
Yeah, I think a lot of people already are kind of saying that, like, Tassie are like their second or third team anyway. Like, every single AFL supporter probably has Tassie, like Tasmania locals probably either have them as their favourite most likely, but if not, they're definitely second.
Yeah.
I mean, I hope the Tassie Devils do well. I think everyone
until
wants
they take over the whole team and like all the good players.
Collingwood fans will hate it if they take Nick Dacos for like $3 million a year. And finally, I wanted to talk about Bailey Smith. So the AFL have put the Geelong on notice for him. The AFL have officially put Geelong on notice for their star in Bailey Smith, who faces punishment if he continues to post controversial content on social media. The league wrote the Cats CEO, Steve Hocking, after Smith posted, then deleted a thumbnail image from a 9-year-old episode of...
Channel 9.
No, from a 9-year-old episode of The Footy Show on YouTube, in which the AFL personality Sam Newman verbally attacked the Age journalist in Caroline Wilson. So look, probably not a great idea, I'll be honest.
No, it's probably, to be honest, it's probably one of his worst ones he's done this year. Yeah. To be honest, probably the worst one he's done. But
I mean, I kind of like. Let's be real though. Yes, he's probably gone a bit overboard with some of the things that he does, you know. But he has brought so much to the game this year, Bailey Smith. Let's not fucking... so many people already hate the fact that they're taking personality away from the game, the personality away from the players. It's starting to come back, and it's really good to see. Let's not fucking sanction a guy because of what he posts on social media. As long as it's not like hateful stuff, I don't really care what they fucking post, really. No. I mean, if they're going to make the excuse of, oh, what about the children, like Helen Lovejoy on fucking The Simpsons, don't have your kids on fucking social media. If you were one of those parents who were like, oh, what about my kids seeing it? It's like, bro, they shouldn't be on social media if they can't handle that. You know? Yeah. I hate that sort of bullshit. They shouldn't be they shouldn't be on social media following these players.
No.
So I hate that excuse. Yes, that's probably not the great thing to do, but overall, he is so good for the game, and the personality that he brings is, you know, is growing the game even more.
Exactly. So
it's growing it to kids. It's growing it to other people. You know, the celebrations and that from the younger guys in the game now are getting more kids involved in it, and it's growing the game even more. And considering the AFL refused to try and get this game to go international, that's the only way it's going to grow. Yeah. Through its players. You know. Yeah. That's how it's going to grow. So they can sit there and have a whinge about Bailey Smith posting on social media about a 9-year-old clip from Sam Newman. I think, but about roasting Caroline Wilson. But the other stuff that he's done for the game is, I think, the good outweighs the bad. So yeah, that's pretty much all I've got to say on that. Do you have anything else to say about how great Bailey Smith is as a guy?
Oh no, it's just he's brought back personality, as you said. It's just that
he's one of many.
Yeah, he's one of many, and you know, you want to see them be themselves. Like, you want everybody to be yourself. You don't want them to be a robot. You don't want it to be completely different.
How many fucking interviews have we seen from players going, oh, yep, you know, we're going to strap up and be ready for next week.
Week to week.
Week to week basis. And then he goes on with Cam Mooney after the big game against Collingwood, and he goes, yeah, it's hot, sure beats being in front of 5,000 people in Ballarat. That brought so much hype for the game against the Bulldogs later, in a month later it was. That's what we want to see. We want to see players, you know, having a joke, having a laugh. Because at the end of the day, it is just a game. So let's have a bit of a laugh about it. Let's have a bit of a joke about ourselves and fucking not have such a fucking tight fucking sphincter and getting so angry about something that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Fucking who cares? Anyway, that's pretty much all we've got for this episode, guys. Episode, I think it was 133, I'm pretty sure. We are back. We'll be going on with weekly videos throughout the off-season at the very least. We should be able to get one out every single week, probably around Christmas. We'll probably take a couple of weeks off. Next week as well, we'll probably start up again the, the World Sports segment as well, so we can really get into how bad Liverpool are going, because it's really exciting.
Same with Atlanta in the NFL.
Atlanta in the NFL. Yeah, we'll get into NFL, cricket, bit of soccer, of course, as well. We'll still keep up to date with the football stuff, but of course, with the season definitely coming to a close now, trade period's all done. We've got the draft, and then everyone's a premiership favourite in November.
Yep.
Can't wait for that. Can't wait for Port Adelaide to be a premiership favourite. It's the only time they're going to be in the next 18, 2, 3, 4 years probably. That's all right. But again, guys, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. If you did enjoy it, make sure to like and subscribe. If you're over on Spotify, the episode will be posted over there. We make sure to follow and make sure to give us 5 stars, because I asked really nicely and I finally added that bit. I haven't said it for about a couple of months, but yeah. Anyway, thanks for the support. We'll catch you all next week.
See you later, guys.